A cop tried to detain Colonel Rand Edison on her own porch, and minutes later she had the Pentagon on the line shutting him down. "You won't believe how this unfolds." Han didn't ask questions, just made assumptions, but when she said, "I'm going to call the Pentagon," the expression on his face said it all. The sky was overcast that morning, not raining, just gray enough to soften the edges of the day. Colonel Randy Edison had always liked it that way. No glare, no sweat, just calm. She turned off the engine of the black government SUV and looked at her new home. 2 stories, brick facade, a simple porch. Nothing flashy, exactly what she wanted after 22 years of service. Randy stepped out, straightening her Army service uniform jacket. Her ribbons were perfectly aligned on her chest, her nameplate, branch insignia, and full colonel rank. That morning she'd spoken at the Pentagon about leadership in defense and veteran transitions. The applause still echoed in her ears, but here in Menace Park, Virginia, all she wanted was to unpack and rest. She grabbed 2 boxes from the trunk labeled books in black marker and started walking toward the porch steps. A neighbor across the street, an older man in khakis and a tucked-in polo, slowed his lawnmower and just stared. No wave, no smile, just watched. Randy didn't flinch. She'd been in far more hostile places than suburban stares. She set the boxes on the porch and reached for her keys. That's when she heard the slow crunch of tires behind her, pulling up to the curb. She turned. A black and white police SUV had stopped right behind her parked vehicle. No lights, no siren, just watching. Randy squinted, tilting her head. The window rolled down. "Ma'am," the officer called, "is this your vehicle?" She blinked. "Yes," she replied, "it's government issued. I just got home." The officer didn't get out right away, just looked at her. He was young, maybe 30, pale-skinned, sharp jaw, short buzzed hair. His badge read Bruster. His eyes were already scanning her plates, her uniform, the boxes. "You live here?" "Yes," she said calmly. "Moved in last week. Is there a problem?" He stepped out, adjusting his belt. His hand rested near his holster. Not on it, but close enough to send a message. "We got a call about suspicious activity," he said flatly. "A vehicle out here that doesn't match the owner's registration." Randy raised an eyebrow. "I am the owner." "Kick owner," she said, gesturing behind her. "Colonel Randy Edison, U.S. Army. I just spoke at the Pentagon 3 hours ago." He didn't nod, didn't say thank you for your service, just took a few steps closer. "I'll need to see some ID." She placed the key in the front door but didn't turn it. Slowly, she faced him, opened her jacket pocket, and pulled out her military ID. He looked at it, then at her, then back at the ID. Nothing in his face changed. "Got anything with your current address?" he asked. Randy tilted her head. "I just moved in. I haven't updated my driver's license yet." Bruster frowned like he'd caught her in a lie. "Any proof you live here?" She sighed, her calm still intact. "The mortgage papers are inside. Would you like to come in?" "I'll need you to stay right there for now," he said. But the look in his eyes said he wasn't done. Not by a long shot. Randy stood firm, one hand resting on the box labeled books, the other near her waist. She wasn't scared. She was alert. It was a habit she'd honed over years, deployed overseas and in Pentagon boardrooms full of egos louder than gunfire. But this was different. "I'm not refusing anything," she said. "I'm just standing on my porch." Officer Bruster took 2 steps closer, the kind meant to be subtle but never are. He narrowed his eyes, as if her uniform were a Halloween costume he didn't quite buy. "I'll need to verify the plates," he muttered, already heading back to his cruiser. "They're federal," she called out. "You'll need special clearance." He didn't respond, just got in, shut the door, and started typing on his onboard computer. Randy stood still, her mouth tightening. Across the street, the man with the lawnmower had stopped completely, arms crossed, watching. Then the passenger door opened and Bruster stepped out again, now with his notepad. "Let's try this again," he said. "You said your name's Colonel Edison, right? And this is your residence?" "For the 3rd time, yes," she said. "You just moved in?" "Yes." "And you've got nothing to prove you live here?" "I told you I have the mortgage papers inside the house, but nothing on me right now." Randa breathed slowly through her nose. "Officer, what's this really about?" Bruster stiffened, like she'd just accused him of something, which, in a way, she had. His face hardened. "Ma'am, I don't appreciate the tone. I'm doing my job." "No," she said, calm but firmer now. "You're going beyond your job." I'm in full uniform, standing on the porch of a house I bought with my own money, in a government vehicle, holding a box of books. None of this is suspicious. There was a long pause. He stepped forward again, too close this time. I've had people try scams like this before, he said, voice low, like he was trying to intimidate. Uniforms don't mean much if they're not real. I've seen it. Officer, do you honestly think someone's out here impersonating a colonel just to carry a box into a house on a Saturday? I need you to drop the attitude and answer the questions. She stared at him. I've answered all your questions. You just didn't like the answers. There was a flash in his eyes, anger, frustration, or maybe the moment someone's pride starts to bruise and they cover it with power. I'm going to need you to stay right here, he said again. Don't go in the house. Is that an order? It's a lawful directive, but Rand was about to find out how far he'd go to prove he was in control. Rand didn't move. Her hand hovered near the key again, not to defend, not to escalate, just to get into her own home. Officer Bruster, she said, voice level, this isn't a command post. You're not my superior. You're not in charge of this property. I'm going inside now. Bruster's body tensed, like someone had pulled a cord tight through his spine. No, you're not, he snapped, stepping onto the porch and planting himself directly between her and the door. Randy didn't budge. You're interfering with a federal employee's movement without cause. I've told you, he said louder this time. You're being detained until we verify you're telling the truth. You haven't said I'm under arrest. You're being detained. What's the charge? Suspicion of trespassing. She glanced at her uniform, her insignia, the keys in her hand. You realize how ridiculous that sounds? I said, step back, ma'am. Then he did it, reached for her arm. It wasn't violent, not yet, but his hand closed over her elbow in a way that left no doubt. He wanted control over her body, over the moment, over the space she owned. Rande pulled back instantly, her voice raised but still firm and authoritative. Do not touch me. That's assault. You're resisting, Bruster barked, reaching for her again. I'm not under arrest. You can't put hands on me. Her voice rang out through the neighborhood like a warning shot. You're going to want to stop whatever you think you're doing, she said, because in about 30 seconds, someone much higher up the chain of command is going to ask why a colonel in uniform was being detained on her own porch. But Officer Bruster hadn't fully realized yet the line she'd just dialed would change everything. Bruster froze, his hand hovering near his belt, unsure now, not scared, but suddenly not so confident. Randy held the phone to her ear. 1 ring, 2, then, Colonel Edison here. Captain Rollins, you okay, ma'am? Not exactly, she said calmly. A local officer's detained me in front of my house. No charges, no reason. He doesn't believe I live here. I need this documented. There was a brief silence on the other end, then a shift to a crisp military tone. Understood? What's the officer's name? Bruster. Location, Menace Park, corner of Evergreen and St. Jones. Stay on the line. She didn't have to say it. She already knew Homeland Security protocols were kicking in. Someone was being notified. It wouldn't take long. Bruster blinked, like he was finally processing that this wasn't a joke, a scam, or a rookie with a fake badge. This was real. He took a step back, and for the first time, his voice dropped a decibel. Who'd you just call? She met his eyes. The Department of Defense. You just put hands on a colonel in full uniform on her own property. It's already in someone's file. His radio crackled, static, then a clear, firm voice. Unit 2 and 14, stand by. Confirm current location. Bruster lifted the mic to his mouth. Evergreen and St. Jones. Received. Be advised the subject in question has been positively identified via federal verification. Colonel Randy Edison, service verified by the Pentagon. Do not proceed further. His jaw tightened. Dispatch, I was just trying to confirm. 214, you are instructed to stand down immediately. Back up en route. Supervisors notified. Bruster's face paled. Randy didn't flinch. She stood tall, phone still to her ear. Captain Rollins spoke again. He's still there? Yes. Want me to patch in a civilian liaison, or we leave it as is? Leave it as is. Received. Keep the line open. I'm fine, she said, just tired. She lowered her phone and finally looked toward her front door. I'm going inside now, Officer Bruster, unless you plan to tackle me. He didn't respond. She took the key, turned the lock, and opened the door, just as she'd planned to do 15 minutes earlier. But the real moment of truth was still coming, with flashing lights, higher ranks, and no room to hide behind a badge. Randy set the box of books just inside the door. She didn't close it behind her, not yet. She wanted Officer Bruster to see exactly where she stood. No hiding, no running, not breaking a single law. From the edge of the porch, Bruster was frozen, like he'd forgotten how his legs worked. His hand had fallen completely from his belt now. He looked around, at the neighbors watching from behind curtains, at people on their porches with phones in hand. He looked like a man who'd just realized he wasn't the one in control. Then came the sirens. Not urgent, just steady. A second patrol car pulled up. This time the door swung open fast. A black woman in a dark blue uniform stepped out, her rank pins gleaming, her face unreadable. She walked with purpose, boots on pavement, not running but not strolling either. "Lieutenant Tally," she said, flashing her badge. "Supervisor." Randy nodded. "Colonel Randy Edison." Tally's eyes flicked to Bruster. He opened his mouth to explain, but she raised a finger, silencing him. "We'll get to you." Tally stepped onto Randy's porch. "Ma'am, can I come in for a moment?" Inside, Randy gestured to a leather chair just inside the living room, still half-hoofed of unpacked boxes. The house smelled of cardboard and pine. "Thanks for keeping your cool," Tally said. "I've been in worse situations with bigger stakes," Randy replied. "Still, this shouldn't happen on your porch." They sat for just a few minutes before Tally asked, "Can I speak freely?" "Go ahead." "I've had complaints about Bruster before. None confirmed, mostly subtle stuff, but this is solid. Your call might have just saved someone else trouble." Randy leaned forward. "What's going to happen to him?" Tally sighed. "That depends. Internal Affairs is coming. The Pentagon's already in touch with our chief. The city manager will probably know before dinner. Best case, he's suspended, evaluated, reprimanded. Worst case, he's out of a job." Outside, Bruster was pacing now, staring down the street like he wanted to vanish into the trees. "I don't want blood," Randy said. "I want accountability." "You'll get it." Tally stood. "Want me to escort him off your property?" Randy shook her head. "Let him walk away on his own. He needs to feel that." Tally stepped back into the daylight. Randy followed her to the door, arms crossed. "Officer Bruster," Tally called. "You're relieved of duty pending investigation. Turn in your weapon and badge now." He looked like a man who'd just had the air cut off. No words. He reached for his belt, handed over both. No speech, no fight, just silence. Then he turned and walked to his cruiser. He didn't get in, just stood there, waiting. Maybe for orders, maybe for reality to catch up. Randy stayed on the porch, standing tall, still watching. But the final part wasn't about Bruster. It was about the neighborhood and what came next. The next morning was quiet. Not the kind that hides something, just peaceful. Randy sat on the porch steps with a coffee mug in hand, wearing an old army sweatshirt and sweatpants, hair pulled back, no uniform today. She'd earned it. A woman walking a golden retriever passed on the opposite sidewalk, slowed her pace, glanced over, and gave a tentative wave. Randy nodded. Then came the man who'd been watching yesterday, lawn still half mowed. He crossed the street slowly, hands in his jacket pockets. "Didn't know who you were," he said. "I saw it all yesterday." "Now you do," Randy replied, not looking up from her mug. Just wanted to say I'm sorry for what happened. Shouldn't have gone down like that. I've lived here 23 years, and that was wrong." Randy finally met his eyes. He was nervous, but not faking it. She could tell. "I'm not here to lecture anybody," she said. "I'm here to live, same as you." He nodded. "Well, if you ever need anything, tools, a ladder, help with the gutters, just knock." He turned and headed back across the street. She watched him, not coldly, not warmly, just aware. A few hours later, a group of neighborhood kids rode by on bikes. One pointed at her and said, "My dad said you work at the Pentagon." Randy smiled. "That's right. Cool." They sped off. The world didn't stop turning. That afternoon she unpacked more boxes, hung a framed photo of her command unit on the living room wall, laid out her uniforms in the closet. When the sun dipped behind the trees, she stepped out again. Same porch, same spot. This time, more neighbors waved. Not all, but enough. It wasn't about the uniform anymore. It was about being seen, respected. She thought about Bruster, about what might come next in his career, or not. The deepest lesson here is that true respect isn't tied to a uniform, a title, or a badge. It's earned through character and standing firm in who you are. Colonel Randon Edison didn't need to scream or fight. She just held her ground, showing that power isn't about intimidation, but integrity. In our lives, we face moments where people judge us by appearances or question our place. This story reminds us to stay calm, know our worth, and let our actions speak louder than doubts. Whether it's at work, home, or in our communities, we can all choose dignity over drama and accountability over ego. Thanks for watching this incredible journey with me. Your support means everything. Drop a comment below. What's your biggest takeaway? Like, share, and subscribe so we can keep exploring stories that inspire and teach us how to live better.